Welcome! The day has arrived. It's time for our first recorder lesson today, and I'm so excited to get started with you. We're going to be going over a lot on this first lesson. So remember, anytime you need to pause, go for it. We're going to work on how to hold the recorder, proper finger placement, how to blow into the recorder, and of course, how to make your first sound. Our first pitch or note that we're playing today is going to be B. I hope you have your recorder ready. I can't wait to get started. Here's the deal. Before we actually make a sound, you have to be sure that you're developing good habits. So the first thing that we have to go over is how to hold the recorder. This part's really important. So you have your recorder. Now I want you to put it down. We'll get back to it, I promise. We need to talk about the proper angle to hold our recorder. Do you ever have these little yogurt things? They're delicious. When you think about the angle of the recorder, I want you to think about the angle that you would have some yogurt. So think about it this way. If you're trying to get the yogurt out, would you stick it way out here at a 180-degree angle? Might be kind of awkward, right, to get all the yogurt out? Plus your arms would get really tired. But you also don't want to put your yogurt at a 90-degree angle because then you have to put your face down and it's kind of awkward and your neck might hurt. So what you want to do is you just sit up nice and tall and you have the yogurt at a 45-degree angle. Here's what it looks like from the side. So we've established 45-degree angle. Here's the next part. In this yogurt, we need to have our left hand on top of our right hand. This is very important. I'm going to say it again. Left hand on top. You must. You might be wondering, why do you need to have your left hand on top? I'm right-handed, so maybe it's easier for me to put my right hand on top. The reason why in recorder we have left hand on top is because this will prepare you to learn other instruments as you get older where you have to have your left hand on top. For example, the saxophone or the clarinet or the flute. Left hand goes on top. If you start playing with your right hand on top, it's going to be really hard to break that habit. So, with our left hand on top, 45-degree angle, I want you to hold it to where all of your fingers except your thumbs are in the front. We have our yogurt at a 45-degree angle. We have our thumbs in the back and our fingers in the front. We're going to number our fingers. That means each of our fingers is going to have a number label. So first thing I want you to do is wiggle your thumb. We're going to call your thumb 0. Now, wiggle your index finger. We're going to call this 1. Now, wiggle your middle finger. This is 2. Now, wiggle your ring finger. This is 3. Notice my pinky is not on the yogurt. That's because in recorder, your left hand, we don't use the left pinky, okay? Now, in our right hand, we have 0 again with our thumb, and then wiggle your index finger, 1, middle finger, 2, ring finger, 3, and pinky, 4. For today, we're just going to worry about our thumb, which is 0, and our index finger, which is 1. Awesome. Now put your imaginary yogurt down, or if you have it, put your yogurt down. And guess what? Now it's time to transfer that to our instrument. So pick up your recorder, look in the back of your recorder, and look in the front. Which side has more holes, the back or the front? The front does, right? So what we do is with our left hand, our 0 covers the back hole completely. We don't use our tips. We use the pads of our fingers, the pads, okay? And then our 1 finger is going to cover the top hole, like this. Now, look at all the other fingers. They are not covering the holes yet. There will come a time where we will use the other holes, but for today's lesson, we're just going to do 0 and 1. We have to talk about how to blow into the recorder. Okay, this is super important. Let's pretend you have some soup, some very, very hot soup in a spoon. You hold up the spoon, and before you put the soup in your mouth, you realize, I need to cool it off a little bit. So you blow it. Now, what would happen if you went and blew super duper hard? You're right, the soup would go everywhere. It'd splash everywhere. But if you blow way too soft and barely blow at all, then nothing's going to happen. You want to blow right in the middle, just enough to get that soup nice and lukewarm, but without the soup splashing everywhere. Now, is my mouth doing anything weird? Like, is it making any strange shapes? No, it's just, you just open your mouth and you blow. So now recorder, which hand goes on top? Your left hand. So get your recorder, left hand on top, 0 in the back, 1 in the front, and we're going to say 2. But when we say it, we're not going to actually use our voice. We're going to whisper it like this. Okay? So listen to me. I just made the 2 sound with the recorder. Okay? So now you're going to try it with me. Left hand on top, thumb on 0, index on 1. 1, 2, ready, blow. Stop. Good, let's try it again. Ready, go. Good. Now, you may have noticed a few things this first time. Maybe you sounded like me, or maybe you didn't. Maybe it actually didn't sound the way you think it should sound at all. Totally normal. So let's go over a few ways that we can fix crazy sounding recorders. One of the biggest problems I see is people blowing way too hard. If I blow my recorder way too hard, it's going to make a very high-pitched sound. You might want to cover your ears for this. That sounds awful, right? Terrible. That's because I'm blowing way, way too hard. Remember, that soup is flying everywhere. All that hot soup is going all over the place. Don't blow that hard, okay? Now, the other problem I see, if people are not blowing too fast, is that they're not covering the holes. In fact, I would say about 99% of the time people make a squeak, it's because they're not covering the holes completely with the correct fingers, which in this case is 0 and 1, okay? Look what happens if I just barely move my finger so it's not covering the hole. It doesn't sound right. It actually completely changes the pitch to something else, something that we don't want to hear. So, if you have an adult or a friend or whoever around, I want you to see if they can look at you and look at your fingers and make sure using the pads of your fingers that you're covering the holes completely. And repeat after me. Ready? Okay, now listen to me. Okay, I'm going to try a different pattern now. Okay, now a different pattern. Excellent! Great job! Now, for the next part, you might be wondering, okay, so we made a sound. You said something about a B at the beginning of the video. Guess what? We just played our first note, B, and I'm going to show you what that looks like on the music staff. Introducing the music staff. We have 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have this squiggly thing right here. This is called the treble clef. There's lots of other clefs in music as well. We'll talk a little bit more about the treble clef on a different lesson. But all you need to know is that that's a treble clef. And that is the note we played. We played the note B. Let's say I played. Guess what? I just played B, B, B. And then there's that thing here. Anyone know what this is called? It's called a rest. That just means an absence of sound. Now you also might go, well, wait, Miss Mari, I notice here there's no numbers, but right there you put a number. In a different lesson, we'll talk about time signature, but just know that the 4/4 basically means that when you see a note that looks like this, called a quarter note, it equals 1 beat. Okay? So I'm going to play, and then I'm going to point, and you're going to play. Okay, so first I'm going to play. And now you're going to play. 1, 2, ready, go. Again, 2, ready, go. Again, 2, ready, go. One more time. 2, ready, go. Excellent job. Now remember, in the comments, if you have questions or you feel like you're just not getting something, please let me know in the comment section, or you can post a comment on my website, missmarimusic.com. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Between this week and next week, here's what I want you to do. I want you to practice holding the recorder with what hand? Your left hand on top. I want you to practice using your 0 and your 1 to cover the back hole and the front hole, 0 and 1. I want you to practice having your fingers nice and curled over the other holes, but not covering the holes. It may be tempting to try some other crazy things on the recorder, but wait, because I want to be sure that we are developing really good habits together so we don't have to fix anything later. That was an awesome first lesson. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next week.